Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris Collier. I'm your host with Conquer the Chris, the podcast you don't want to miss. And today we have a very special guest, Earl Hall. Earl, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Chris. Definitely glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, everyone has their origin story. Let's hear a summation of that now, Earl, if we could. Just a summation of your origin story.
Gosh, origin to what, man? I'm 55 years old. It's, shucks. I'm a kid born in Virginia, grew up in Maryland. Parents married now 55 years. Just have one sibling. My father has two master's degrees and very educated and, has been a big influence in my life, all of my life. He's 76 years old now. Still with us, thank God. And just the work ethic that I got from him, my mother, all of that has kind of pushed me to kind of do the things that I've wanted to do and excel at those things. Early on in 1999, 2000 was my first real entrepreneurial venture. My background is in mechanical engineering and design, believe it or not. Um, so did some time there. Then, around 2008, 2009, just got into the whole video production thing, doing videos, not live streams at the time, but eventually got into that, got big into YouTube. But my love and passion has really been about creating promo videos for people and helping them to expand their brand so that they can bring awareness to what it is that they do. Along that line, I'm a best-selling author on Amazon and a coach, media personality, but it's kind of that beginning kind of got me to where I am now, just following the line of really what I was interested in doing in the moment. And so I've kind of found that now.
Wow. That is amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I didn't realize we were so close. I thought I had beat you.
Okay.
We're a little bit closer than I thought. So, growing up in a household like that, how was it coming up? I'm sure there was a lot of stringentness in grades and performance in school and such. How'd that go and how'd that form and shape you?
Well, I can't say I grew up in a very stringent home. We did have rules. I did horrible in high school, did absolutely horrible, did graduate, but school was not my main focus. School never held my interest. I was always interested in something more than what they had to offer, quite honestly. And my grades kind of proved that out. My father, I think one of his biggest, frustration was like, how are you scoring in the top 90th percentile on all the statewide tests, but you're bringing home, and D's? What's happening here? And eventually I just really wasn't interested in what I was learning or not learning, I should say, in school, but I did have other interests and they always centered around technology. Loved computer programming at the time, going all the way back to basic programming. I graduated high school in 1987. So they didn't have all the stuff they have now, right? But, I had a Commodore 64, in my bedroom, right? And would play with it and the big, floppy disks and the big old dot matrix printer and all of that. And, so I had the tools that I wanted to use at the time. And, it was just all about furthering, in my mind, that education on how to use these things that now we just take for granted today. We carry around things like this and it's powerful what we hold within our hands. So that's kind of the thing that kind of kept my interest.
You mentioned the cell phone, and I was just thinking when you said that when we were kids, if you got a walkie-talkie, like your parents would buy you
Oh yeah.
walkie-talkies that had batteries that operated them, you'd be on them, and the only reason you could hear them wasn't because the walkie-talkie was so good; it's because they were just far enough away you couldn't see them, but you could still hear them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now you got a device you can call halfway or all the way around the world
Mm-hmm.
in your hand. That's amazing. I was just thinking when you said Commodore 64, the partner of that was the VIC 20.
Okay.
I loved the VIC 20. So you were into technology even then. So how did you progress from there? You graduated high school and then you
Went into the United States Air Force. I spent 4.5 years in the United States Air Force. Got to go to Guam, was my first duty station overseas in Guam. And, got to go to Thailand, got to go to Australia, and visit while I was there as well on temporary duty. And then wound up in Oklahoma. And, from there, I've always, really pretty much since I was in the military, just, what, there's something that I want to do. I'm not sure what it is, but I want to be in control of whatever that is. And I want to follow that. Even that's why I got into engineering. After getting out of the military and getting a couple jobs, I decided to go back to school. I went to college, excelled in it, didn't graduate from college, but got enough knowledge to know that, what, I could probably do this on my own. And I've kind of been that way the whole time. It's like, I can do this on my own. And I mean, one of my very first clients, I lived out in Milwaukee at the time, was Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson was based out of Milwaukee. That's where the headquarters was at the time, around 2000, 2000, 2002. And, I had control of 3 plants of Harley Davidson, doing work with them, and hired a team. We had offices downtown Milwaukee, real nice offices, and employees and stuff like that. And I found out within about 4 or 5 years, I really don't like engineering. It was like, I really don't like doing this. So I need to find something else to do. And I just continued searching and searching, just different interests that I had. And, now I'm here.
Wow. So let's take a look. So what caused you to take all that knowledge you build up and start writing?
Well, writing is to me anyway, I can't say for everyone, writing becomes a natural progression of things. If you become good at something and you want to share that knowledge, obviously there's several ways to do it. One of them is writing a book. I've wrote several. One of them is doing stuff like this. I mean, I have my own podcast. I'm on your podcast. I produce video content talking about the things that I know about and want to share with people. I just think writing for some of us is just a natural progression of things. I think being on YouTube in particular, I realized that all the videos that I was making, I mean, I've got over 15,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I realized a lot of the videos I'm making are books. Let's just start making some books here.
That is absolutely correct. We went from the industrial age to the information age, and now everything is information based. Like I was listening to a guy the other day, and he said that his programs and his products are the same information he shares on YouTube, but most people don't pay attention. They listen to it, but they don't pay attention. So he charges a fee for his program, and they pay him for the same information. I mean, there's a little bit more follow through, but
Sure.
he said it's amazing how we as people psychologically, if we get something for free, I'll get to it. If we get charged for something, we're right on top of it. Like, I got to make sure I get my money out of this, right?
Well, Chris, I've seen that. I mean, I've developed several courses over time, but one of the things about even courses that people develop, however many people, sign up for the course or pay for the course, only like 20% of them actually do anything with the information that's even in the course. Not to say that people shouldn't make courses. I will continue to make courses from time to time, but it's one of those things that after doing it for so long, I realized that, you can give information to people for free or you can charge people for information, but what people do with that information is beyond our control.
Wow, that's a great statement. I think that's just true in anything you do. Like, I've been a part of several church plants, and it's typically 80-20, right? 80% of the people doing 20% of the work, and 20% of the people doing 80% of the work.
Yeah.
In any organization, I would say, is typically like that. So somebody who sees you and goes, man, Earl seems to have accomplished a lot. He has his hands on several different things, and they're similar to you, and they feel that similarity. How would you tell them to find that itch they can't scratch, right?
It takes searching. I don't even have an answer for that. I mean, I'm one of these guys. I mean, if I get interested in something, I have to worry about not chasing squirrels, right? It's like, is this really going to benefit me down the line, or is it just something, is just a hobby type of thing, or just something I want to test out or try out? But, I think that when you find the thing, and sometimes it just takes time to find your thing, but you have to be able to define that clearly. And if you can't define what you want clearly, and I've had this problem, but if you can't define what you want clearly, you really don't have a path to follow, right? So you've got to figure out what that thing is and reverse engineer. Okay, if this is what I want to do, how am I going to get to that point? And do I want to do the work to get to that point? Because that's the big thing. Is like, do I want to do the work to actually get to that point? It's just like, when I wrote my latest book, Mind Your Business, it's on Amazon as a bestseller, right out of the gate. that didn't happen on accident. It didn't happen without a plan. It didn't happen without, knowing how to do certain things. And plenty of people write books on Amazon no one ever sees. And sometimes people think just because I wrote a book and I put it on Amazon, it's going to blow up. No, sweetheart. It's not. It's not going to blow up, on Amazon. No matter what it is, you have to actually have a structure and a plan for everything it is that you do in order to get to and arrive at a point that you're looking to get to as far as your destination goes.
That's just thinking with you. So I hear you say you really can't help someone, but the bottom line is you got to have a structure and a plan. You reverse engineer. Probably need to have some boundaries on what you're willing to sacrifice or lose time, energy, and so that way you're not just, you think you want to build a skyscraper, you spend 6 months on it, and you're like, nah, I'm tired. When I do it.
Well, I mean, you've got some key indicators for a lot of these things. I mean, with social media now, you can put out a post or tweet or short or something and see if it resonates with anyone. You can test your thoughts and your theories in real time. Like if you put out a post and there's crickets and there's no one responding to it and no one asking you for anything more, okay, maybe try and do a couple other posts, but you can relatively quickly find out if there's something that you can actually make a dent in. But it just takes the time to do that, and I think the start is the hardest part. And I've said that over and over. The start is the hardest part.
What do you think keeps people from starting?
There's a lot of things with that. I mean, we can talk about fear. We can talk about not thinking enough of yourself, self-doubt, listening to quote unquote haters. A lot of times people don't mind seeing you do well, but they mind seeing you do better than them. So a lot of times people will try and hold you back from accomplishing something, especially if they've never done it, never attempted to do it, but they want to give you advice on why it won't work. Well, you don't even know because you've never even done it. And a lot of times you have to look at that as maybe someone trying to hold you back on what it is that you want to do or your dreams. But the dream is yours and it's going to live or die based on you.
Wow. So let's say someone's watching this video, and why should they take the opportunity to become successful in an area, industry, niche? Why should they take the time to? You said part of it earlier. I think you owe it to yourself. What other reasons should somebody try to be successful?
Well, I think anyone can try and be successful. Not a lot of people will be. You have to be willing to do the things that other people won't do. And you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable in a lot of situations, especially when you're looking to excel or go beyond like the median or what's average or considered to be average. It is scary at times being an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur, you got to take risks. At some point, there's going to be a risk you have to take. And that may be the stopping point for many. It's like, well, no, I don't think I want to risk that in order to accomplish that. Okay, well, then you don't do that and you don't become successful in that thing. Now, we're talking about being an entrepreneur. It doesn't mean you can't be successful on your job. It doesn't mean you can't be successful in your family. Success comes in a lot of different forms, and success is personal. What is success to the individual? Because if we're just looking at what we see online from the person that we follow and we think that's success, well, that's that person's definition of success. It doesn't mean that it has to be yours.
That's good. I always say success is what you think it is, but it's the person's, the individual's thought of what success is. Some people it's money, some people it's fame, some people it's just having a house and their wife and kids or whatever it is they deem to be success, and having everything paid off. Everyone has different levels of success, and a lot of times people try to project that success onto someone else. Like, I think having 3 PhDs is success. So that's not necessarily wouldn't be mine. Like personally, if someone told me that was success, I'd laugh and be like, I don't want that headache.
Right.
Because PhD to me, no offense to those who are educators, I love education for you and for anyone who wants to have it. But PhD means pile higher and deeper. But
yeah.
But everyone should go, like, especially with YouTube today. I really feel that you can, and other outlets, and courses and training people sell and offer. You can get, unless you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, or something that needs a certification like that.
Yeah.
You can get most of your training 99% of your training online. If you really search for it, if you're really hungry, really thirsty for it, I think you can do it online. So Earl, you're documenting, and what I hear is, and I'm not trying to say this for you, but what I hear is you document or you write books based upon your courses and everything else you do, kind of building a legacy, right? Because you want future generations not necessarily to look and say, "Oh, there's Earl Hall," but you want them to say, "Oh, this information is great," and maybe then say, have your name mentioned in greatness when they see what you've shared, right? Not that you're doing it for greatness, but you're doing it to share the information. So to that you understood these things. Is that correct?
Kind of. It has nothing to do for me with fame or anything like that. It just has to do with getting out information to people that actually want certain types of information. That's that's the point of the writing of the book, right? And to get that into people's hands takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort, energy, and planning and thought to actually become a bestseller on Amazon. It's so you like I said before, you can write a book, but it doesn't mean anyone's going to see it. You've
Yeah.
got to be promoting whatever it is that you do. You can have a podcast. If you're not promoting that in the correct way, no one's going to see it. You can do live streams. You can do videos, trying to start a YouTube channel. If you're not promoting what it is that you're doing, when I'm saying promoting, I'm not talking about something that is over the top or whatever. But I think one of the main things with so many people that want to go into the entrepreneurial space is they're not talking enough about what it is that they're doing, who it is they're doing it for, and why they're doing it. Those are the three components. What are you doing? Who are you doing it for? And why are you doing it? And so, if you're not talking about those things on a consistent basis, no one's ever going to be able to take advantage of the knowledge that you have that you're trying to disseminate.
Wow, that's good. So let me get that right. What you're doing, who you're doing it for, and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's tremendous. That's a big help. That's a great tip to everyone out there. If you want to know, if you think about doing something, why you doing it, who you doing it for, and what you're doing. What are you actually doing? Who you doing it for, and why you doing it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I get that right. So that's the foundation of, like we were talking about earlier. Why should you start something? Those are the three questions you got to ask immediately, so you have a good foundation to build off of and move forward. So tell people what they can expect out of your book that you have on Amazon right now, and where they can find that.
Well, mind your business, and the subtitle is 10 Simple Insights to Business Success. A lot of times people have tried to overcomplicate this whole thing about starting a business, being an entrepreneur, and everything else. And I think because a lot of the things that we see online in particular, a lot of things look really fancy, a lot of things look really over the top. And I used to be that way, just over the top about a lot of things. And what I found, Chris, is that the simple things that we do, I mean, instead of trying to have some sort of fancy stuff going on, in a video that I'm doing or whatever, me just holding up my phone and talking to camera outperforms most everything. No matter how fancy you try and get. I talk in the book about work-life balance, which I don't believe in. I talk in the book about podcasting. I talk in the book about how you can use these certain tools out here to actually promote the thing that you're trying to promote. And so many times I think people don't realize, I kind of got this from Gary Vee a few years ago. It's like every company is a media company. And if you don't treat your company like a media company, you're not going to get much attention or much eyes on it. But you've got to know that you're a media company first. And because of the age that we live in with social media, now that can be in print, it could be in images, it could be in video, or all three combined. But you've got to be doing something out there. And that's what Mind Your Business is all about, is to get you thinking about the simple things that you can actually do that is going to get you the result that you're actually looking to get.
There's so much in there. I don't even know where to go. That is really good. I really love how you we as humans have a tendency to complicate the simplified.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Yeah, I mean that. And when we boil everything down and making it simple, that makes things easier than what you think they should be, and it makes it more digestible. So entrepreneurship is not easy, but sometimes we tend to overcomplicate it. Being a business owner is not easy, but sometimes we do overcomplicate it because in our mind, it has to be a certain level of complexity
Hmm.
for us to
Hmm.
become successful or good at something, right? So you simplified it down so it's in just plain, understandable steps, 10 things, so people can be successful in their own business. So what are you gonna do? What's your goals now? What are your thoughts about moving forward
In what regard? I'm sorry.
in your business, in your life, in your media company?
Yeah, just continuing to do what it is that I do to build what it is that I want to build. There's slow steps. I think a lot of times people lack patience. I lack patience, right? I'm not good with patience, but just getting better and better at letting things take hold when they take hold, and just doing the things that I know I need to do in order to build what I'm trying to build inside of Earl Hall Studio, which is basically making promo videos, book trailers for authors, for speakers, other media hosts, making the best I can possible to get them the best result. And there's a formula for all of that, which we follow at Earl Hall Studio, but you can't ask me what that is because I'm not going to tell you.
So where can people find you?
Anywhere online is at Earl Hall Studio. Doesn't matter the platform, it's just at Earl Hall Studio. And you can see what I'm doing. You can see the different folks I'm working with, the different clients that I have, the different projects that I'm working on, and the things that I'm interested in sharing with people about how they can do better in their own entrepreneurial journey. Especially right now, I mean, I work a full-time job as well, so showing people how they can do this while working a full-time job.
Wow, that's amazing. So do you have a favorite quote?
You said something about that before, and I can't say that I generally have a favorite quote from anyone. There are a lot of quotes that I like, but to bring one to mind right now, can't think of one.
No worries. No worries. I think one that fits us real well in this interview would be, and don't you're gonna get me for who said it, but it says usually opportunity comes dressed in overalls and looks like work,
Okay.
and I like that one, and it fits us here because I think Earl and I probably are similar spirited in the sense that we work and we work hard at what we do, both in our business and on our job.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Earl, if you were going to leave when we leave this conversation? What would you like people to your last words to be with them?
A lot of posts that I put out there, and people will see this, and you can maybe see it on my hat right now, but it's like being a linchpin for me, and it's my hashtag that I use all the time. It's grind and don't quit. That's it.
Well, my guest has been Earl Hall. It's been my pleasure, Earl. Thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me, Chris. Definitely appreciate it.
And wherever you're joining us, day or night, please like, share, and subscribe, and have a great day.